is you will actually be working these out. I do not want to take time. I don't want to take time to type all these in on the calculator, although certainly we can do one or two to make sure you're getting them right. It's not perfect, but it's better. So look at them and see what questions you have about these problems. Now, if I did not do it on the board, you're not responsible for it. Because remember, some things we skip. So, what questions do we have about any of those? Kia? You have to type in 10 factorial and then divided by 2 factorial, 3 factorial. You gotta put parentheses. Well, first of all, it's never gonna hurt to put parentheses, but if there is more than one thing down there, then you have to have parentheses or you won't get the right answer. You are going to get 3/4 of the credit for having the setup right, but the other 1/4 is going to come from the answer. So if you don't type it in correctly, you're going to miss 1/4 of a point. So make sure that you're typing it in correctly. I gave away my calculator, so I'm not sure what the answer to this is. Actually, it might be on the answers. The answer to number 5 should be 302,400. So if you want to know if you're typing it in right, you should get this answer for that problem. Now, it is absolutely meaningless for you to copy this down. We're getting ready to take a quiz. You need to be asking yourself, does that make sense? Will I be able to do that in a few minutes when I take my quiz? Max?
Is number 6 5 factorial?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
I didn't do that one.
Well, we're not covering circular permutations. We're not doing it. So that's why number 6 isn't up here. We are doing only the problems on the board here because I had to leave some things out, and one of them was circular permutations.
All right, understood.
Now, 5 people in a line. If I said how many ways can I arrange 5 people in a row, that you need to know. That's 5 factorial. But we didn't do putting things in a circle. That's different. Putting things in a circle is different.
What about putting something in a row? What was Oh, okay, yeah. Like
Shelley?
So for like number 7 and like other problems with them, we do like the bigger number always will.
Always. And if you miss it, your calculator won't calculate it any other way, so you'll catch it. But yeah, this is the number you're picking from. This is how many you're picking always.
He is the specific
you don't know what they're going to get.
He is, yes.
It could be either 3.
If
So
you are
don't know exactly what
assigning,
they're
like,
getting, so
in this problem, it was a C,
so now you're getting
because
a C.
all of the
C.
prizes were the same. So it didn't matter what order you got. Everybody's getting the same thing. If the prizes had been different, then it would be a P problem.
Is that one where you like
Yep. Yep. Or I'm giving away a candy bar, a bag of chips, a juice box, and a pencil.
So that would be a P.
That's P, because I'm giving away specific items. Hannah?
For number 7, you multiply the 2 together once you get those, right? So it'd be 28
Yes.
times 20.
Because you are picking, what is it, seniors and juniors for your committee.
So,
And whenever we're doing this and this, it's a multiply.
and this is the quiz?
Number 7.
No, it's part of the quiz. What?
So what's the order for like the numbers on number 7?
What do you mean?
For like before and after the is there a certain order for it?
Okay, Shelley already asked that
I know, I
question.
didn't hear it, that's why I only did.
Okay, okay, you need to pay attention.
I was doing
Okay, I need you to pay attention. However many you have to pick from goes here. This is the number you're actually picking. So if there are 8 seniors and you're picking 2 of them, it's 8C2. Alice, was your hand up?
No, I figured it out.
Okay, now, that's part of the quiz, but there are more problems on the quiz, and they are continuing here. So let's look at the next problems. The next one is this expand problem. So you will not have room probably on your quiz, just like there really isn't room here. So I got the cards up here. If you when you get ready to take your quiz, if you feel like you need more room, you can do it on a card. Can't have the cards yet, because you got to do Pascal's triangle brand new. All right, so I'm going to squeeze it up here. So I start with a 1 and a 1, and then on each end goes a 1 and a 1, and then in between these numbers, I add them together and put the answer. So 1 and a 1, in between these, add them together. 1 and 1, in between them, add them together. It's so simple, but you got to stay organized and make sure that you are writing your new number, like when you're building your new row, write it in between the two above, so you have this pyramid happening. Now that's all I need. If this is your quiz question, you do not need any more than that, because since this is to the 4th power, I only need the 4th row of numbers. Now, if it's to the 5th power, then you will need the next row. If it's to the 3rd power, then you only need this row. Next to each of the numbers, put a 2x and a 3y. Now, don't put a 2x and a 3y next to every number on your quiz. Put whatever is here and whatever is here, right? Next to every number. Now these are individual terms, and the answer to this question is the whole shebang, so be neat. Got plus signs in between so I can see the individual separate terms. The only thing missing are the exponents. So I remember that on the first thing, which is the x term, I start with 4, whatever that is, that's what I start with, and work my way down. You should always end up at 0, right? And then the other way. And within each individual term, the exponents should add up to that number. So if you had something like this, you're wrong. I mean, you got to go back and figure out, I must have counted wrong or skipped something or something. That is going to get you most of the credit for the problem, because essentially that's the answer. But if you want, by the way, this is a 6-point problem on the quiz. So if you want to get full credit, you need to simplify this. Remember, anything to the 0 power is 1, so we're not going to let that confuse us. This term is 16x to the 4th. You cannot afford to forget to take 2 to the 4th. Remember, when you're raising to the powers, everything in that parentheses gets raised to the power. So that's 16x to the 4th. Same thing here. I have a 4. What do I have here?
3.
8 and a 3. So that term is going to be 96x cubed y, because I have to multiply the 4, the 8, and the 3. Same thing here. I have a 6 and a 4 and a 9. What is that? 216 x squared y squared. Same thing here. I have a 4, a 2, and a 27. Is that another 216 xy cubed? All that, don't worry about it. Anything to the 0 power is 1, so that's going to be 81 y to the 4th. And that is the answer to the question. That's the whole answer. That whole thing is the answer. Okay?
How do you like, is there like a specific way to know whether
If order matters in the selection of the items, it's a P. So if it matters what order I pick you in, it's a P. If it doesn't matter what order I pick you in, it's a C. So you just gotta think about the problem. Does it matter if I get picked first or last? Ask yourself that question. Does it matter to me if I get picked first or not? And if it doesn't matter, then it's a C. Now, the next problem, we are raising this to the 8th power. Oh my gosh. But luckily, we only want one term. So we want the 5th term. So when we say we want the 5th term, it's like saying we only want one of these. So the easy part is, well, I guess it's not so easy. You got to figure out, okay, the 5th term, you got to figure out what is the coefficient I'm going to use from my triangle, and then what power of the 2 pieces am I going to use? Because I know whatever the 5th term is, there's going to be a coefficient, and then there's going to be an x to a power and a negative 2y to the power. Would you agree? And I just need to figure out, okay, what are those powers and what is that coefficient? Well, since this one is to the 8th power, I'm going to need the 8th, if I use Pascal's triangle, I'm going to need the 8th row of the triangle. So, okay, so start with a 1, end with a 1, and then add each pair. Okay, so there's the 5th row. Start with a 1, end with a 1, add each pair. Start and end. Add each pair. And finally, and you don't even need the whole 8th row. It wouldn't hurt anything to write the whole thing out, but you don't even need the whole 8th row because you're just looking for the 5th number in the row. So there's the first number, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So the number that I want, that coefficient I'm going to use is 70 because it is the 5th number in the 8th row. All right? Now, the only thing I don't have are powers. I need to know what the powers are. So, remember in the big one that we just did, how did we assign the powers? We started, this was to the 4th, so we started with 4 and counted down. So in the 8th row, all these terms right here, I would start with x to the 8th, and then it would be 7, 6, 5, 4. So this would be a 4, and there's nothing magical or mystical about it. I got it by counting. And once I know that's a 4, this has to be a 4 because the powers within each term have to add up to that, right? Now I simplify. So I have a 70 and x to the 4th. Watch it. This would be 16 y to the 4th. And it's positive because when you raise a negative to an even power, it becomes positive. So 70 times 16 is 1,120. So that would be the only answer to the problem, and that's it. That's the answer to the problem.
What's the quick way to do that?
You can use your combination numbers. This is 8C8, 8C7, 8C6, 8C5, 8C4.
No, I'm talking about how to get to 70.
Yeah, that's the only other way to get to it. That's the only other way to get to it. If you type HC4 into your calculator, HC4 is 70. So you use the C numbers, the combination numbers. You just need to figure out which one to use. All right, now we're skipping 14, but we have to be able to do 15.
All right.
So 15 is a Venn diagram.
So.
So here we go, 15. All right, so we got A and B. All right, here we go. When we are doing these problems where they tell me how many people are in the A ball and how many people are in the B ball, where do I start?
Middle.
How many people are in both? So when I look at the given there, how many people are in both? 0.55. A upside down UB means A intersect B. It's the overlap, A and B. Now the whole A ball was 65, but 55 of them are right here, so this must be 0.10. The whole B ball was 0.8, or 80, 55 of them are here, so this has to be 0.25.
And one's left over. Or 10 point.
When I add all this up, a 0.10, a 0.55, and a 0.25, all that adds up to 0.9. So you know there's leftovers because there has to be 100%. So you must have 0.10 or 0.1 not in A or B, right? So then we can answer the question. Or questions. Remember that the little apostrophe thing there means not. So we're not in A and we're in B. So who's in B but not in A? 0.25. You can't say 0.8. Yeah, there's 0.8 people in B, but this many of them are also in A, and you can't be in A. So it's just those. These are the ones that aren't in either one. If you're not in either one, then you are out here, 0.10 or just plain 0.1. Yeah, we're getting ready to do it. Hang on. All right, so that was number 15. Now number 16 with the charts. What is the probability that neither student likes science? So what that means is the first one doesn't like science and the second one doesn't like science. So what's the probability the first one does not like science? 0.9. And times the second one does not like science. 0.8. So the answer is 0.72. If you are uncomfortable multiplying those decimals, then do it on your calculator. Don't blow points because you can't multiply decimals.
They add it all together.
If there are 0.1 who like science, there are 0.9 who don't.
That has to add up to 1, too.
It does.
The whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, they do add up to 1. All right, what's the probability the first one likes English? First one likes English, 0.2. And the second likes math, 0.08. What is the probability that both like English? 0.2 times 0.3, 0.06. What is the probability that one will like math and the other one likes art? Okay, now wait a minute, this is the trick problem. Because what people are gonna do is say 0.6 times 0.1, they're gonna say 0.06 is the answer.
You gotta add the next one.
Exactly. This doesn't say, specifically, it does not state, first guy likes math, second guy likes art. That's not what it says. It says one of each. Or it could be either way, right? Doesn't matter. I just need a math and an art. So this would be math, class 1 math, class 2 art. It could also be class 1 art and class 2 math. So that would be 0.04.
Then you add them together.
So you add them together and the answer is 0.10. Why do we add them together? Because it could be this way or it could be that way.
It's not and, it's or.
And when it's an or, we add. Okay? All right. Now let's take a class vote. We can quiz now.